poor Baron force. Okay, starting the Baron was smart, but as you mentioned, cutting off, they didn't do that. In the end, weren't punished, but I guess the real question coming into Game 2, where we do have the same lineup for Longzhu, no substitutions after that win over SKT, but the big question for Longzhu is, okay, you picked off a win. It wasn't necessarily a cheese strat, but it was something different. It was something that caught SKT off guard. What do you have if there's some adaptations in this ban phase? Because is this a new depth of strategy, or is it just one strategy that worked excellently against SKT, and again, only won by the smallest of margins?
Wow. So Kog'Maw ban on red side here from SKTelecom. Not something to be expected. There is the Rise ban once more. It has been banned against Faker all season long for obvious reasons. I like
Longzhu banning Quinn on the blue side. Remember, Quinn slipped through picks and bans when SKT was on blue, but now that SKT is on red, they do not want to give Duke last pick Quinn potential. They're just taking it away, and SKT have definitely been last picking for Duke a lot more. That's been their big adaptation on the red side as this lineup has gotten more and more experienced.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's been a
Faker special.
Well, yeah, Faker special, and also that's more of KT's style as the last pick top lane on red side. So Kalista is available after the GP and the Kog'Maw ban. So a couple pocket bans here in the Nidalee and the Kog'Maw. As Bengi never been comfortable as a Nidalee player, so that leaves up champions like Lulu and Kalista, and I have a sneaky suspicion that this is a Lulu Lucian game coming out of SKTelecom.
Seems likely. The Lucian KDA for Bang is incredible. 3-1, so he has had that single loss as Lucian, but he has a 27 KDA, including a loss on Lucian, and maybe he won't be taking it in this first round, but given that Kalista's already locked in, certainly very high likelihood we will see the Lucian synergy, and Alistar available. Alistar snapped up.
Yep. So now is time for the Jungle Rumble.
Is it though? Doesn't do that well against Udyr, so
we'll see. It's a flashing here by Chaser of Bengi's champion pool for the most part.
Let's just play 6.3 on 6.2, Monty. Let's do it.
He's ready. Chaser's here. He's ready for the new jungle meta. Well, they were certainly ready for new Kog'Maw, actually. The first win on 6.2 with the Kog'Maw pick after KT made it look terrible, honestly, yesterday.
And that's with Arrow, a noted Kog'Maw aficionado.
A Kog'Maw enthusiast.
Hey, look, it's more 6.3 champions, but there's a 6.2 pick. We'll end up with the Elise once again.
And Poppy. Bard still available, was banned against Longzhu in game number 1, but we don't know where that Poppy is going. And the Lucian and the Udyr. The Udyr's coming back. They were undeterred, Papa Smithy, by its extreme ineffectiveness in game number 1.
Okay, but the draft already is night and day from the draft SKT picked up in game 1. They have Lulu for lane pressure. They have Alistar Lucian again. That's going to be powerful. So they actually have 2 at least expected winning lanes, or at least pressure lanes, locked in. So if this time they can have pressure and Udyr applying pressure, not Udyr just not being able to find camps or being really dealt with by the enemy team, it will be a different kind of Udyr game. So what can Longzhu do to beef up their lanes? They've already got Kalista, so they're expecting a good lane in bottom. Poppy's going probably to the top lane, but what are they going to pick mid against this Lulu is the question.
Thinking about that Braum again, and of course that would be very useful against the Lucian Lulu compositions that SKTelecom prefers, and I think some engage there. Lissandra was banned in the first game of this series, so they're going to take it this time, and Expression definitely a threat on that pick. But the question now is what is going in, I guess what is going in the top lane will be Poppy, so Coco will be playing Lissandra instead.
Despite the fact that Lissandra is largely popular because of her flex pick nature, Longzhu very, very clear where their champions are going, and it feels like SKT are one piece away from just the sort of comp that will show off why Udyr is so feared on 6.2 forward, or Runeglaive Udyr in general. What do they want to answer with? I'm expecting a mid lane pick here. I mean, we could see, mid lane Luna, of course, is one of Faker's best champions, but he needs something with good wave clear. Could it just be a Twisted Fate?
I really don't like it when Faker plays TF Papa Smithy.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go top lane Trundle instead. So mixing it up here, and That is something that we have not really seen a whole lot of in Korea overall.
But when we have seen it, actually it has been into the Poppy. It's one of those champions who can kind of approach the lane like Trundle Maokai, where you ignore Poppy's base damages and decent, consistent damage and just try and take down structures. It feels like, okay, it's not a lane counter pick, but this is a lane where Trundle just won't be harassed out by Poppy and does have that split push pressure just with his ability to disregard enemy damage.
They're going to take the Trundle this time. Fiora falling all the way through the draft, despite SKT's success with it, honestly, in the last game. They're going for another 4-1 split instead. And I actually think this is quite smart of them to do, because that was something that Longzhu did not really respond well to in the late game. And once they see the Poppy and Lysandra, it's another situation, double teleport, but they still have no answer to Trundle late. So SKT is just going to hope for a cleaner ending to this game after showing their stuff in game number 1.
And if they adjust some of their lane freezing, actually apply pressure as they've picked to be able to do so, I think we'll see a different Udyr if all lanes are not freezing like they were awkwardly in game 1.
Yeah, I really like this adjustment from SKTelecom. They bounced back, realized the problems with their composition and their playstyle in game number 1, strengthened it up, seeing that weakness in Longzhu's play on the map and their kind of team fight centric composition, and we'll see what they can do here in game number 2, SKT versus Longzhu right now.
Everybody wants to rule the world. There's a room where the light won't find you, holding hands.
Welcome to game 2 of our first best of 3 of the evening. It will be SKTelecom T1 head-to-head against Longzhu Gaming. Longzhu pulling off an upset in the first game. And there is Chaser, always with that coy little smirk on his face. See it in the intro, see it live right now.
Honestly, he deserves the smirk after his MVP performance in game 1. Bengi playing the OP, playing the jungle Udyr that had so much popularity in solo queue, very sky-high win rate on that champion, but SKT not really playing around the Udyr as you'd expect and making the adjustments that kind of suggest to me that I think Chase is in for a different tussle with Udyr in the same matchup in game 2.
We are going to see the lane swap once again, however, as Bang and Wolf motion towards the top side of the map. And Expression and Chaser will be falling back. That means to the Wolves. And an early invade here from both sides.
Remember, SKT were heavily delayed by Pure in game 1. Remember, Braum auto-attacking when SKT was starting on the blue side Krugs. This time, going to continue, and this is a 2-man investment.
Yeah, that Braum at level 1, forcing that early flash. I mean, Braum Callista level 1, you basically can not get away from that. You are going to get stunned because of the Callista passive and the fact that she could just keep hopping to you to apply those stacks. So nice early flash there. Both teams having the same idea of the counter invade, but SKT coming out with the short end of the stick.
Worth noting that the minion wave, of course, had a lot more time to potentially open up in the bottom side of the map. I know there's been some adjustments to that, but Lucian was able to cull the wave ideally in top lane, so we'll see if that affects anything as these jungle follows continue.
SKT moves up now, takes the red buff, and then moves over to the Krug. So see what they decide to do after that. Blue buff is available in the enemy jungle for both junglers and should be pretty standard fare 3-man turret take here from both sides as Expression joins up with Captain Jack and Pure here in the bottom lane.
To me, the lane swap favors Longzhu. Just when we're talking about the jungle matchup, whenever you engage a lane swap, you're kind of hiding your jungler. That's why when, for example, Sejuani was in the meta, you saw so much lane swapping because Sejuani didn't have to deal with invasion. She was always with friends, whether it's in a lane pushing or whether it's in the double jungle sense. Udyr does have less room to maneuver when a lane swap is happening. So at least for the first 8 minutes or so, we'll see a reduction in pressure that the Udia is able to pull off. It's just where do the lanes reset when we do see these turrets, the turret trading end.
Yeah, I suppose the trade-off you get for that, though, is that the Elise, who has better gank pressure than Udyr in the early game, is tied up mostly farming. So depends on what you're going for. Special here will be taking out the turret, getting that solo experience. Faker putting some good harass down onto Coco early, as expected, with the shorter range coming out of that Lysandra, and Faker's tendency to play very aggressively on this Lulu. He has actually opted for TP in this game instead of Ignite, which he usually runs.
Guess Lysandra has enough defensive options that he's not taking it this time. Chaser just coming to help push up that wave in mid.
Turning the tide just a little bit. Coco needs to go back. He's got no more healing potions. Faker still has one in his inventory. Not so worried about that, and he can have the luxury of slowly pushing this back out.
It's not done counter jungler. We saw Pure put down aggressive pink ward as well. Oh, Bengi picks it up. Nice smite. Does get the Raptor.
Pretty important right there. Chaser moving back up to deal with his duo lane. So Longzhu just mimicking their lane swap from last game, which helped Chaser get very far ahead. However, this time around, Bengi not falling behind by so many camps.
Interested to see if we see an adjustment of his build path. His first major item after Runeglaive was the Spirit Visage. That was kind of a bit of a head scratcher. We could see he was working on other items after that, but was going more for the selfish stats, perhaps the auras or team items.
Or split pushing items.
Or split pushing items. Banner of Command and Zerot Portal, definitely the cornerstone of most Runic Echo Udyr builds.
Yeah, whatever it's called now. They could have just kept the same name.
Nope. Runeglaive's dead, Monty. Just like Gangplank was for that week or two.
Oh man, that was my least favorite time. All right, SKTelecom goes for the first dragon while they take down the turret, so using that bottom side advantage and Udyr's tankiness to go ahead and grab an additional objective. So SKT looking a lot cleaner in this lane swap this game.
Gotta say, just seeing this trade, because of course we're seeing first dragon traded for the Rift Herald. I have to feel that with Dragon receiving those adjustments in 6.3, this trade, which never really felt great, trading the Rift Herald buff for first dragon, gets only worse starting up next patch, where second dragon and fourth dragon suddenly are really attractive buffs. So I'm interested to see if we see people engaging in lane swaps differently, just because you don't want to be trading first dragon on 6.3 for that Rift Herald buff until we see inevitably the Rift Herald changes. So it just feels like the push and shove between those buffs is becoming more and more dragon focused.
Yeah, I wonder what Riot's going to do with that too, because something has to be done about the crappiness that is Rift Herald.
Harold the Herald just hasn't really got it going yet.
Definitely does not have it going on. So SKT, no more freezing for them, pushing much more actively in the early game. And getting those deep wards in with the help of Wolf and Bengi. So this is a very big difference in the game plan from SKTelecom. Duke already running away with a little bit of a CS advantage, but big waves coming in for Poppy here.
Remember, Duke did have an advantage in game one as well, but that was largely through freezing. If he can pressure lanes and keep up this advantage, that will be much more beneficial to particularly the Udyr, who does have Faker pushing in mid lane aplenty to open up space for him to counter jungle. Now especially looking to try and freeze. No such luck.
He was driven right down into the turret with some harassment courtesy of Bang, so they'll get that reversing right away. They're actually denying quite a few CS by just harassing with autos.
And they're drawing up Pure as well, so sharing experience, meaning the Expression will find himself in a hole compared to Duke.
Nicely done. Been able to take a look at that bottom lane yet. Finally, Captain Jack there. We can see attempting to freeze, but that'll be slowly pushing back towards the side of SKTelecom as well. So very small advantages, and Faker's actually going to get jumped on, and there's the chain CC. Goodbye. Lysandra Elise there just to get the ult straight into the cocoon.
Super clean as well. Knew that he couldn't be greedy. Flashed for the initial CC, and Faker didn't have a chance to even use his ult, flash, use anything. that was really good play calling and just good synergy between Coco and Chaser that's largely been absent throughout the course of the season.
I mean, Bengi was there too. They knew that that was a big danger coming through, so Bengi was actually entering the mid lane for a possible counter gank. He was just about a second too late to respond to that, so a little blip in communication right there on SKTelecom, and that'll result in the first blood right onto Chaser.
Worth noting that he's also Udio, so maybe the 1 second stun would have been enough, but definitely not a champion that can gank mid. So this is honestly, you mentioned how the lane swap did hide Chaser from being able to use his ganking prowess. Worth noting that Udio, not much of a ganker at the best of times, and now that we're seeing Lulu just try and push to open up space for the Udyr, the appropriate punishment is if you don't have eyes on Chaser, if, for example, Chaser's in the darkness, if Udyr isn't just playing Peanut style in front of the enemy jungle, ganks certainly possible from Chaser.
Yeah, making it happen. Chaser takes a look at Duke here on the top side, who's actually fallen behind in CS now, but he'll catch right back up as the minions come his way. Faker now handed off that blue buff. Didn't have time to use that summoner, didn't have time to use that ultimate. They still have control over this dragon, which will be coming up in about a minute and a half.
Difference between Peanut's approach and SKT's with lane pressure has been that Chaser is still unaccounted for, hasn't stepped into vision just yet. It feels like Chaser's being left open and punished them a lot in game 1 and has the potential to do that again in game 2. He's so fast with both the Aether Wisp, which of course soon will be the 10% from the Rune Glaive, and the flat movement speed from the Rift Tower buff.
I believe you mean Runic Echoes.
Kill me now, Monty. The RAP item.
Okay. SKT trying to push this turret down right now using their superior range. Some good damage for sure, but only break it down to about 30%. So everyone get a recall before the dragon comes up so they can make a stronger play. Duke back to the freezing game in the top lane and buy himself that little bit of time here.
I mean, when you see those two turrets go down, this is just the reality, is that both top laners take turns freezing. The moment that the minion wave starts to push, you push it hard, then you have no defensive vision or jungle pressure to be able to contest for CS this far up the map. So that's why we see those swingy changes where one top laner will be 20, 25 CS ahead, and then by the time we see the matchup again, it's either equal or a slight lead goes the other way. It's because there's no ability to set up safe vision and no incentive to play around that top laner. So the result is periods of freezing on both sides between Expression and Human.
Everybody gets to be old school CJ Blaze now.
Yay. Flame horizons for everyone,
It's
except
not even,
Flame.
it's not even a strategy anymore, it's just what you have to do.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, that Wolf Spirit is going to make it very obvious what Longzhu is trying to do, stacking up in that brush. So Bengi and Wolf just going to go ahead and avoid that one, considering they can see 0 people on the map right now. Probably not smart to go ahead and stick your face in the river, especially with the dragon respawning.
Wolf's level 5.
And there he goes. Wolf actually going to get the pull, has to flash his way out of that one. Pure comes over the wall, but isn't going to actually find a kill onto Alistair, so a little bit strange right there, considering the information that they had already from the Wolf Spirit.
Hey, ran time.
You would think that Wolf would listen to the Wolf Spirit. Obviously, not in touch with his Wolf spirituality.
Guess not. Denying that for now, holding back.
He's an atheist. To his own Wolf Spirit. How tragic.
Hurricane first from Captain Jack. Says dragon fighting to me, Monty.
Yeah, there we go, Bengi. Just gonna try and zone them out right now.
Remember, the Hurricane Rush means that Captain Jack has much less control over minion waves, so obviously a better team fighting rush versus the Blade of Their Own King.
Well, that was almost exciting, wasn't it? But then it was just a scuttle crab taken by SKT. Longzhu still looking for the picks right here. Wolf's still not level 6. Pure's only level 4, actually. So neither support not much going on in this game when it comes to team fighting quite yet. Bengi's actually just going to get caught and destroyed. No, he's going to live thanks to the flash And of course the Wild Growth and Shield coming in from Faker. Faker had to flash to even get that Wild Growth down though. Meanwhile, Duke is going to start to torture Expression in the top side. Chasing him off with that Frozen Domain.
Very clear what his build path's going towards. Ravenous Hydra, probably going to swap it for a Titanic later, but split push, Trundle in full effect.
It did work well for SKTelecom in game number 1, nearly sealing them up that win. So why not try it again? Longzhu doesn't seem to have a good response to that, either with their play or with their compositions in either of the first 2 games of this series.
No dragon stacking from Longzhu's side either, so in general, not much to concern SKT. They're not freezing this time. That's the big adaptation you can see from their play, and it serves Udyr better, marginally ahead in CS, but not what we'd expect given just the respect that's been placed towards Runic Echo Udyr.
Yeah, well, it's much better than being down 28 to 52 CS in this matchup at this point of the game.
You take what you can get.
But you're right, it's been much more about that pressure and opening up opportunities here for Bengi to actually get the farm he needs to survive. Wolf once again, gonna just throw a pink ward there in that brush. He has level 6 this time, so maybe a tad more bold where he's going to be placing these wards. They know where the pink wards are now. Longzhu clears out a pink of their own, and everyone's still trying to make a play here around this dragon, but Expression just gets very low as Duke ults him in the top side. Now we see a TP coming in. They're going to go after this. Trundle has no ultimate, but he does have the pillar. Not finding himself in range, but they've moved everybody off of that. Very weird TP considering Faker was back in base at the time and canceled his.
The thing that I did pick up there was that, of course, Pure was still 5, so didn't really have much disengage available. They thought the pillar might be enough to pick up multiple picks and that second dragon, but you're right. Seems scattered between Faker and Duke, and the result is 2 summoners invested, so they will want the dragon from this. Expression doesn't have ult, but does have both his summoners available.
Yeah, made that investment, but they've got to buy some time first for Faker just to push out the bottom wave. Longzhu wants to get this mid lane turret. They're going to get some free shots at it. Captain Jack here now. Going to use the culling here. Looks like they're not going to. Bang holding on to that. There's a pulverize coming through. You're going to use this unbreakable. Bang baits it out. Doesn't use the culling actually, so getting that cooldown out of the way can have a little bit more freedom using that Lucian ultimate for the time being.
Longzhu can get chip damage on this mid turret and just buy enough time for Expression to get ultimate up. They'll be in a great spot. House is looking for a combo.
Does get the combo. Is stopped up though by the Lissandra W. Wolf gonna walk out back from that stun. Now they're gonna go into the river. There's the chilling spike coming down. They're gonna find Chaser getting the 1-second stun onto him. And there we go, Lissandra coming in. 2 men blocked up already, but Faker's gonna live through that ultimate, and now he's pinned up against the side by Poppy. Bengi trying to peel as best he can, does stop up Pure. Bang actually firing from the outside right now. Duke is getting low, however, and he's going to die. So 2 kills over to Longzhu. None finished. Chaser and Coco get low, but there's just not enough damage on the side of SKT quite yet.
That was really smart from Captain Jack. He had multiple Callista Spears in both of the front liners, but held onto the Ren, timed it with actually Poppy going in. The burst surprised Bengi, died as well, and then the future kill onto Duke was inevitable, so Expression pushes up. Little skirmish win. Still no kills on the board from SKT, and it should be the answering dragon from Longzhu.
Yep, that'll be their first dragon, tying it up in the total. Faker here going for
really quick Lich Bang.
Yeah, really quick. Very, very interesting. Looks like he wants to start his split pushing as fast as he can on the other side of the map opposite Duke.
It also tells me that they know that Udyr is going to acquire that first target, whether they have to invest the Whimsy or not. He is going to be super, super quick. A little bit extra burst may mean that pick that will start off a fight, because 5v5 fights with Udyr are not easy, but Udyr picking up a pick, certainly something within the realms of his kit, so.
At the very least this time, they're not playing Udyr into a kiting composition. Lissandra and Poppy have to go in, so he's always going to have somebody to hit and somebody to peel with his stun.
Is the 1 second enough duration to stop Coco from just self-ulting or still having a lot of CC, though, is the question. What is an ideal comp for Udyr to face in a 5v5? There really isn't one. It's all about his map pressure, and still waiting to see if we're going to see the investment into the likes of the Zerat portal or at least the manner of command.
I think you have to do one or the other. Otherwise, there's just not.
Otherwise, you just Udyr.
Yeah, otherwise you're just Udyr. That is true. Lots of dancing there from Bengi. Wants to take out this ward. Does find it and clear it next to his red buff. We're just waiting right here. Bang a bit behind, having only finished his Essence Reaver thus far. And the Rift Herald attempt here from Longzhu as they continue to dominate the river. Duke, though, starting to find that CS lead once again. Expression got a kill and got an assist, but there's still no real answer to this Trundle now with the Ravenous Hydra as he gets bigger and bigger. So they're going to try and gank him. And that's Frozen Domain going down. Duke is going to get knocked up, and he's going to get tied up here. No chance. Ultimate after the W coming through, and Expression gets the credit for that kill. However, SKT just going to respond in the mid lane. They want this turret in return. Chaser try and get some damage out from the side. Bang in the front line. Actually, beautiful cocoon. Then it's going to force the flash and the wild growth. Now here's the TP coming through. Bang is very low. Bang is going to get killed by Coco. Great flank. And that is just a fantastic counterplay there by Longzhu Gaming.
So buttery smooth as their shot calling in team fights. I don't know how Bang let himself get knocked up by the Glacial Fissure, but he did, and the resulting CC lane was beautiful from Chaser.
He had the flash. Looks like they just overestimated their ability to dodge that with the Lulu speed.
I think he just didn't respect the length of the ability. It seemed like he was caught out by the last 100, 200 units of Glacial Fissure's travel time, and really, really punished for it at SKT.
Yeah, very nice. And Longzhu actually holding off on their TPs until they know they can get those kills too. They know that the flash is going to come through and it's not going to be enough to disengage.
But just think of the communication. The Glacial Fissure start into the stun. Okay, that's a pretty big given. You see the knock up on the Bang. You're going all in if you're Chaser. But Coco came into that fight, invested teleport when he didn't have ultimate, just because they were all on the same board. The micro calling in the team fights, which has been Longzhu's big problem so far this season, and amplified by just making a small mistake in a late game team fight and dying, has been really on point so far this game. They're 6-0 up. It's certainly not going to be a perfect game, but how many games reach 20 minutes with no kills for SKTelecom?
Yeah, 4K deficit still. They are definitely hurting, but they were in this position last game and were a couple auto attacks on a Nexus away from winning it all the same. But Longzhu showing that they can hang with the best of them. Their macro play and their teleport usage has been really quite good so far in this series.
Man, they really are shaping up to be much less of an also-ran in the second round robin, which of course is only a couple of weeks away. Finally starting to gel, and this is with the lineup that, objectively, has looked the poorer of the two combinations.
I mean, what's so scary about Longzhu too is that Fury's available now for them. Remember, they basically have an entire other team. And by basically, I mean, they do have an entire other team on this roster.
I mean, we don't know anything about Zeus, but we didn't know anything about Crash, and he turned out pretty good. So who's to say that they don't start playing 5 men and then rotating in another 5 for game 2? How do you prep for that?
Yeah, very difficult.
I think it's been genius that they've kept Flame, Crash, and Frozen basically together ever since Crash's debut. Crash's debut was with Expression and Coco, but since then, 2 practice squads, 2 times the amount of scrims.
I mean, it's basically going back to sister teams right now for Longzhu. They can practice against each other effectively all day as long as they lock their rosters together like that.
And if they succeed with, as you mentioned, an effective sister team, suddenly it'll be a very different Korean scene if this Longzhu lineup and the investments they put in really do start to pay off as we reach playoffs and into the summer season.
I mean, at that point, Longzhu is effectively just playing Masters. Like that?
Do you think we should return to bringing the screen up and down for what their roster is?
That was
Who's it going to be today? Game 3? Oh. They're playing Masters and everyone else is playing Champions.
That's how it feels. That's how it feels.
Headache not really confirmed yet for the Trundle, but we do know there's going to be a stage where he's going to laugh at Poppy's damage and take turrets in front of her.
That's the hope right now. SKTelecom in a similar hold to the last game. They've got to play around their speed now with the Udyr and the Lulu and just try and avoid these fights. And there we go. Culling going to come in. Bang has to be very careful. Goodbye. Nice ultimate right on top of Bang. He's getting a wild growth there, trying to get out of this one.
Teleport
but
coming
Captain
in.
Jack is going absolutely nuts with that Hurricane, and that is not a fight they wanted to take. Duke finds himself in the middle, but he is just dead. And wow, Captain Jack, you don't really want to take team fights like that against a 2-item Callista. That is right in the sweet spot of the Callista power spike. And Chaser is going to get out.
It's almost died to the bolt coming through from the Baron. They're going to keep DPSing it down. Expression is a tank in the front line. He's getting it low. It looks like it's going to leave the remainders to pick up this buff. At the same time, Faker's going to do some counter jungling, but certainly a small price to pay for another big team fight win for Longzhu.
Yeah, just take a look at that fight again.
I mean, just so much is invested on chunking down Pure, but once again, Coco is so on the board with this Lissandra, and Captain Jack's free hitting 2-item mid-game Callista. It's academic from here.
Yeah, everybody was just clumped up there for not only the Lissandra Qs, but just the Hurricane auto attacks. You saw everybody's HP bar just melting all at the same time.
And you used the word clump. Remember, SKT couldn't finish the previous game for clumping up for a 4-man wild growth. It's crazy to think, but actually just something micro like team fighting has been pretty poor from an SKT perspective, especially with their pedigree as being super smart at not grouping up their threats.
Yeah, you almost actually never see that kind of grouping from top-tier Korean teams either. That's pretty fundamental.
Run, Coco.
Yeah, Coco can't actually win this.
Oh! Wait.
No, he's not going to die. He had about 20 HP left in the end.
Sometimes it just works out, Monty.
He was actually just locked against the wall right there with the pillar, unable to move, and that was extraordinarily close.
Longzhu don't have teleport, but we're not going to see enough members from SKT to engage, so it's going to be trivially another inner turret coming down.
But at least SKT may be able to put some pressure on here in the top lane. That was actually a very big delay to the Baron, depending on if they can actually defend this inhibitor turret or not. And right now, the answer is looking like no, but Bengi starts to threaten the flank with that Udyr, and they will eliminate some wards within the base. Duke now not there, so they will fearlessly push forward. A couple more hits from this Baron-empowered cannon minion should be about it. Goodbye, turret.
So many melee champions. This Udyr really offers nothing in a siege sense.
Nope, but he does offer a hell of a lot of damage, and Coco has to use his Zonias. I think you're going to take him out, but is that enough? The rest of Longzhu is just powering through the turret right now. They're trying to kill Wolf, but he's wild growth and at his ultimate, but Ren takes him out in the end. Goodbye, Bengi.
Duke's not grouping.
Nope, he's not. He is split pushing Papa Smithy. He's trading 2 inhibitors for 1, or
1 inhibitor turret.
1 inhibitor turret for 2 inhibitors, okay. Maybe not the best choice there from SKT.
This is peculiar, I gotta say.
I mean, I guess the logic is, what is this Trundle actually going to do to stop the siege? But he does have pillars, so you think he could have held him off for just a little bit longer.
I mean, he didn't have teleport, so he was obviously looking for a clear call from his team, and you have to say he must not have gotten it because he just kept split pushing when it was clear the objective trade is going to be uneven at best.
That Udyr dead in the bear suit is absolutely hilarious.
I gotta say,
It's like a mascot snuff film.
death to Smoochie.
Death to Smoochie indeed. Well, let's take a look at this replay.
I think Udi has been a bit like Smoochie, fairly ineffectual and a bit of a joke.
Definitely a bit of a joke. And really weird dive. This series has been really bizarre. I don't quite know what to think of it, Papa Smithy.
I mean, Longzhu's played smart League of Legends, and SKT
Has played Udyr.
has played Udyr.
I got so excited about pressure plays with the Udyr and split pushing, and it just hasn't happened
And
at all.
He's buying the random sampler of tankiness as well.
I don't know what he's trying to accomplish here, honestly.
Well, it's pump up Longzhu. It's working out pretty good.
Chaser, though, a great series. He's actually going for the Haunting Guys next. So Chaser maximizing his damage, 5-0-5 on the Elise, having a massive series. You know, I think he saw Crash's performance. He's like, uh-oh, I gotta up my game. Nice block there on the culling to save the minion wave, especially gets his TP off too. They're not going to get too much damage, but super minions are becoming a major issue here as Duke attempts to chew through them.
Well, he's not going to die. He's certainly going to be able to sustain through, but hold the minion wave rather than be able to push it out. I got a question for you, Monty, before we see the action that inevitably will come soon. Oh, wait though.
Yeah, Faker going to get chain CC'd there, and as he going to live, has to wild growth himself in the end. Duke now getting into the mix, and he's going to actually trap them in there, but especially comes in with the heroic charge. Duke trying to retreat, is going to get hit up by that Fate's Call, and that is going to be the end of him. As they pick up 1 kill in the skirmish, and now they're just going to try and go for the win. Very slowly picking away at these Nexus turrets. Longzhu doesn't have the HP, though, to actually finish this out right now. TP coming back in at the moment, so Coco on the re-engage. He's going to pop right in there, doesn't hit his W.
Well, that's going to be 3 inhibitors down if they want, but no, they're going to focus on this last Nexus turret.
Yep, that's going to be... And that last Nexus turret going down, Wolf is going to use his ultimate. Pure very low, still uses that Unbreakable, walking forward. He is going to fall. Does take a lot of damage though, and Longzhu going to actually probably win this game in under 30 minutes right now as Longzhu Gaming gets the 2-0 upset over SKTelecom T1.
And while the first game was a little bit sloppy at the end, they had a big lead and then almost threw it all away. Game 2 was pretty calculated, and if anything, SKT just looked poor in the second game. Longzhu on the same board. I mean, you think back to the Jin Air series, which was also a 2-0 win over SKT. You could put that asterisk. You could say, okay, game 1, blank, scout, doesn't count. This was their strongest possible lineup. This was the lineup that dismantled KT for large swaths of the telecom wars, and less than a week later, Longzhu win convincingly.
Yeah, very nice from Longzhu. This is their upside. I mean, this is what we knew they could be with this roster, but it's just been about hitting that high note consistently for them that has caused them a lot of trouble, but damn, they look good tonight. And finally, we see some good synergy between Coco and Chaser, especially this game. I mean, the way that they chained the Elise Lissandra CC was beautiful, over and over and over again.
Look at Captain Jack styling in the booth. He's feeling pretty good.
That's going to be a great gif.
But the thing is, the big difference was Chaser. Chaser looked both practicing his mechanics, which of course we know his mechanical ceiling is super high, but also the team was playing around him well, whether it was Pure, whether it was Coco, like you mentioned. They were really on the same page. And wow, I mean, the difference week on week is amazing.
Yeah, great first blood too. That was my favorite moment of that game. Just the great call there to flash forward with that Lissandra W and then allow time for the Cocoon and the Lissandra ult to finish off the kill before Faker can flash or Wild Growth.
And every previous series from Longzhu, there has been some takeaway where it's like, okay, they need to work on this. But this time, the pick ban, the game calling in the early game, the mechanics, everything was on board.
Yeah, they look like a team, really, for the first time this season. Instead of a collection of superstars. Well, we'll be back in a few minutes, guys, for our next best of 3.